Hello, YouTube. Welcome to our Spider-Man limited set review. Today we're going to be going over at least the first couple of colors, white, blue, black, probably for the first video. And we're going to be talking about all of the Spider-Man cards and giving them a rating between 1 and 10 based on how we think they will perform in the average limited deck. That's a combined draft and sealed, so we know that those two things are a little bit different. One is more synergistic, one is a slower format, so those things have a little bit of a variable, so this is going to be just a rough estimate of how we think those things will perform. I will say highly synergistic cards tend to take a lower rating than what their potential is, because it's just that, it's potential. You might pack one, pick one, and the deck just doesn't come together. So like the idea is how is it going to do in the average deck with the average amount of resources that you can expect to find at in most games. Yanks is on the call with me, so we're going to be reading every single card and going over them. How you doing, Yanks?
Good. How about you?
Good. Are you excited about Spider-Man?
Not really, honestly, but I will say I was not excited for Final Fantasy set either, and the limited turned out to be pretty good. So
Great, great. So you're not a Spider-Man fan.
I like Spider-Man. I just don't like Universes Beyond.
That's totally fair as well. Is there a Marvel IP that you would get a little bit more excited for? Because they have already said that they're planning more sets.
That's a good question. I think I could see if I was gonna pick one, it would probably be like an X-Men type thing. Like I grew up watching the cartoon, um, so I think also you don't have like quite as much of a case you see here, where you have like so many versions of the same character because you have it's a group cast as opposed to a single hero.
Okay, interesting. Um, I don't really mind. I'm like you. I'm not super excited for this IP. I was excited for Final Fantasy. I am incredibly excited for Avatar. This is whatever, and I like the Spider-Man movies. I think Into the Multiverse is like one of the best movies I've seen in a couple of years. I really like them, but I am also not a
I know,
huge
I know,
UB fan.
I know. I'm the minority on this. I think that movie is vastly overrated.
Blah, you're stupid.
I don't think it's bad by any means, but the way people talk about it, I'm like, that's fine. It was fine.
It
I
was
enjoyed it.
it
That's
was
about
so
it.
good. Did you see the sequel?
I got about half an hour into it and turned it off.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I'm so sorry. You are just,
I
you,
accept that I'm the minority on this.
it was so good. It was so good. I loved it so much. And I laughed so hard the first time I saw the first one. The scene where they're being dragged by the web and hitting the train and like doing all this stuff. I
Yeah, that's
died.
pretty
Like
funny.
I physically was crying. But anyway, neither here nor there. We're already like 3 minutes into this and haven't done anything. So let's go ahead and jump straight in, and we're getting into it with a really strong card, or a really rare card, I should say. Not like in the pips that we're seeing. This is blind, so keep that in mind, guys. But the anti-venom horrifying healer, white, 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 for a 5/5 legendary symbiote. When Anti-Venom enters, if he was cast, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If damage would be dealt to this, prevent that much damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So this is the white version of Obliterator. Didn't we already have one of those? We had a white one
Yeah, we
already
had
as well.
Phyrexian Vindicator.
Yeah, so now we just have a new one of those.
Yeah, I forget exactly how Vindicator worked, but it's certainly similar. I mean, you get the ETB trigger, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with this card. I think for limited, it is really hard to cast.
Yeah, say that. But you said I don't see a problem with this card. I see one very big problem, which is exactly what you said: the casting cost.
Yeah, yeah. I just meant in design. Like it's not giving me wow or shock factors. It's just yeah, I think it's going to be way too expensive for limited, and way not expensive, just too hard to cast. Now, I will say there are some limited formats that monocolor is a thing, reanimation targets is a thing, and I don't want to say this will never see play, because it certainly will, and it certainly will be cast, and it certainly will kill you in games, but it doesn't mean it's the right thing to be doing, 99.9% of the time. So I'm going to say that this is not something I'm looking to do in limited, and I am going to give it a 2.
A lot of the, especially because a lot of the removal you're going to deal with in limited, especially at 5 toughness, is going to be just a straight destroy effect or exile effect anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is great in combat, but it's still easily removable
Yeah.
from the battlefield. And with its casting cost, you're not playing this on turn 5 ever. You're looking at turn 8, turn 10. That's fine, but yeah, I like it at like maybe a 3 around the same area,
I mean, it's like a build
just
around
because the
card, right?
casting cost. Yeah.
So like I agree. I think this card can be a 10 if you're building around it, but that is not the average deck, which is what we are aiming to do for what you
Yeah.
guys are looking for in your pre-releases.
Yeah,
Next,
we don't have any indication that this is a monocolor format.
yeah. Next up, we have a 3/3 for 3 legendary spider human hero with web slinging, which means you can pay a white. You may cast this spell for white if you also return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand. Okay, that's kind of neat. I like the lore because they are web slinging something and then pulling them and sort of switching places, so you get like a little bit of a discount. I think that's kind of a neat like lore aspect of a mechanic. When it enters, look at an opponent's hand, then choose a card type other than creature, and spells of the chosen type cost 1 more. That's nice and flexible, and it's a good rate. It also re-triggers your other ETB effects. I like this card a lot. It's a little less flashy for a rare, but I still think this is an incredibly solid card we're never cutting.
Definitely, you also can get the advantage of reusing ETB effects. You return something to your hand that you can cast again.
Wow,
This is
who would have thought of that? Me, I said it.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I was reading. I was double checking the
I was
mechanics.
teasing you. I was
reading.
teasing you.
I'm so sorry. I was
No,
double
I'm
checking the
kidding.
mechanic description of this because this is one of our 2 new mechanics in this format, and the couple things just to note on there. Returning a tapped creature is part of the casting cost, so it's not like they can, when you cast this, they can't kill the creature in response that you're trying to return to your hand. It also doesn't change when you can cast the card. If it's a sorcery speed spell, you can still only cast it at sorcery speed.
Yeah, that makes some sense. I kind of just assumed actually all of those things, so it's good to get the for sure rules double checking because sometimes those things are not written. They're written not in the way that you would expect. So
Anytime you get like an alternate casting cost, it sometimes does some weird things, but in this case, it does exactly how you would expect it to.
rating wise, I like this. I think it's a very, very solid card that's going to round out your deck and get you excited to play it, although it's not a like, dragon style bomb. I think this is a 7.
I'm definitely a little lower this card. I like this. This card seems like it could be pretty disruptive and constructed because most of what you're playing against is going to be creatures and limited. So not being able to choose that type to slow them down is a bit of a drawback. You get enough ETBs that are worth doing, after and you're aggressive, so like after you attack, you can maybe double spell with this only costing 1. I could see it being good in those decks, but overall I've got it like a 6.
I really like the cost is fine for a solid body in white. Like this is fine statted. Now it's getting closer to being the usual, but I find the ability that when it comes onto the battlefield, you get to look at their hand. That information is valuable to me, and then you get to take whatever their strongest, instant sorcery, enchantment, artifacts, whatever their game plan is. You get to disrupt that in a way that affects you minimally, and I find that to be worth a whole point to me alone. Again, even if it ends up not being relevant, the fact that you have that information, which clears you up to play things on curve, which allows you to use your combat tricks, which allows you to use your removal fearlessly in the next, leading up turns. So it could just be that I'm valuing that way more than you, and that's fair.
The information is certainly valuable.
All right, moving on. We have Aunt May, a 0/2 for 1 mana. When another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. If it's a spider, put a +1/+1 counter on it. That's cute because I do think that there's like some spider tokeny-esque things in the set, and that plays pretty well with magic already existing with cards like who's Spider Mummy? Planeswalker. Make 2 spiders.
Wolf.
Yeah, with cards like Lolth, so like that's kind of neat. So I like that it at least does something outside of the spider set, which is cool. Rating wise, I have no idea because we haven't looked at any other cards, so I don't know how relevant like
There are a
little.
lot of spiders.
Okay, so we've
Not
already seen one.
not just tokens. Like a lot of the basically anything that's supposed to be a Spider-Man is a spider.
Yeah, but and I think that they've also you said spy tokens, and I think there's all of the Spider-Mans. Like I'm pretty sure I saw like Nicolas Cage Spider-Man and like a bunch of other shit. So
Like just going through white and a couple of start of blue, there's already 5 spiders, and some plenty in uncommon too, not just rares.
yeah. I mean that's actually not that many. 5 in 2 colors to make this worth playing. That might be too low. If
Again,
there's
and not counting tokens as well.
Yeah, if there's not, yeah, if there's more token generations, because I'm thinking you're going to be in 2 colors, so you need access to how many spiders to make you want to play this. I think that number is still reasonably high. I'm going to say that this is a build around card, and the average deck probably won't have enough, which makes me put it in the like 4 range.
Definitely build around 4. 4 seems right. I guess we also have to keep an eye out if there's any life gain synergies in the
That's
set as
true.
well.
That's
But
true. It might just be worth it if there's other things that trigger each time a life gain happens. Yeah, that's very, very true. This, I think, is a huge contender to be incorrectly evaluated just due to lack of information for sure.
agreed.
But I'm going to say it's a 4 for now. Because I'm thinking about if there's 5 spiders across 2 colors, it could be just like green has all the spiders, so you're just like only doing this if you're Selesnya, and then it's fine. But in a sealed pool, you're just not going to have enough of them, I would think. So
True. I'm actually just looking at green because I figured that's probably where they most are, and I see, not counting tokens, 6 in mono green.
okay, that's fair
And that's
enough.
that's out of only like 24 cards
Yeah,
because there aren't that many cards per color in this set.
and we'll see how many like make tokens as well.
Sure.
But I think this art is hilarious. City
It
Pigeon,
is.
1 mana for a 1/1 flyer. When it leaves the battlefield, create a food token. It's freaking adorable. Anytime a creature makes a thing, I tend to be pretty happy with it. 1/1 flyers tend to be very overpowered for what you would expect. I like to call them Bird Jesus. You play one on turn 1, it gets in 5 damage, and then it's annoying and eats a removal anyway. So I tend to like these cards. I'm going to go on a limb and say that this is something that I'm going to be wanting to play in a good chunk of my decks. 5.5.
There are 2 major concerns with this card. The first one is I hate that common set symbol not being black. Like, that is going to confuse me a lot.
Yeah, there was another set that was like that where I couldn't tell the uncommons
Exactly.
from the rares that much. So far, like if you look at the rare one that's gold, that one looks really obvious, but this one is going to get confused with the uncommon a lot.
Exactly. And then number 2, when it leaves creative food, are we eating the pigeon? Like when it dies, we get a pigeon. We
I
get
think
food.
it's
Like that
dropping
sounds
its
awful.
food. It's dropping its food. You're not eating it. It's dropping the donut that's on its head. It gets dropped. And pigeons, I think that's technically crows, but some birds do leave gifts. Give it a rating, Yanks. We're spending too much time on this bird Jesus.
I like it. I like it at a 5.
All right. Costume Closet, 2 mana for an artifact. When it enters with 2 1/1 counters on it, you can then move a 1/1 counter from this artifact to a target creature, activate only as a sorcery. When a modified creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a counter on this artifact.
Okay, so you're getting to mess around with moving counters around and then basically get them back on here and move them again.
I don't know that I care enough to do this if I don't have like a ton of modified creatures also in the deck. So that way it's adding more counters than originally that it came with. But I tend to also just not like these. We see this a lot with like Weapon Rack and a few other things that it always feels very underwhelming if there isn't like a good artifact synergy or a payoff for having modified creatures, which when they made modified, it was a whole freaking archetype. So it could be, but just face value, not thinking modified is super relevant outside of this. I'm not in love with this card.
So I will say modified is one of the mechanics listed in their article as being brought back for this set.
But
So
is it
there will be
like
more.
this card or a whole archetype?
They tend to only list the cards in that article that or the mechanics that have a significant number, unless they're brand new.
Ah, okay, okay. Well, then if modified counts, then this is being paid off for other modified creatures as well as creating the few creatures that you have that are not modified, making them modified. And I would say that that is very, very important for a deck to work if that is a theme or archetype. So that moves this up in my estimation a lot. I'm still going to say it's like a 5.
I'm right around there too. It is still pretty slow, and we just don't know what the speed of this format is yet. But
Yeah, that's just,
historically, recently, formats have not been slow. So
yeah. I mean, Edge is not particularly fast. Final Fantasy felt fine.
agreed. But those have felt like the outliers.
Yeah. But I mean, 2 in a row, though, that says
Yeah, that's
something.
true. That's true.
Daily. Oh,
Also,
I also wanted to mention this uncommon. The set symbol does look drastically different from this. So I feel like I
it
can see the difference here.
it does look different. I think I'm just gonna be. It's just gonna take a while to remember. Like, what is a white symbol? Oh, common.
Yeah.
Because
And
it's
then
not
the other thing, too, is I think it'll be more noticeable on
not white
like other
cards.
colors, on other not
Yeah,
white cards.
yeah.
Daily Bugle Reports, 4 mana for a 2/3. When this creature enters, choose 1. A puff piece plus put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. And then investigative journalism, return target creature card with 2 mana or less from your graveyard to your hand. I don't hate any of these things. I like that it works with the mechanic, the modified mechanic. I like getting to return a 2 mana creature to my hand, especially because, I mean, we're seeing more and more that there are really solid, strong rares at like 2 cost that we're pretty happy to keep in our deck. Whenever there's an effect like this, I'm always very happy to have it. So I think this is going to get played. We had, oh man, this is a long time ago now. It's been power crept, but there was a cat that was a vanilla 2/3 for 4 that did the same thing. I think it was 2 white white. And when you were able to just go that thing into that thing into that thing, you just killed them.
Yeah,
Do you know what cat I'm talking about? I mean, it was
I
a
do.
long time ago. It was like a core set still, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been too long, I'm sure, but
I think it was like in the same set as like Basri, like the white planeswalker.
okay, that would make sense. That would
I don't
fit
know.
that theme.
It was like a cat. It was like a cat warrior, but neither here nor there. These effects, especially when you start to stack them and chain them onto each other, do become quite powerful. And there's a modified mechanic here, and I like the return. So I don't see me cutting this. I'm gonna say this is like a 6.
I like it as a 6, although I'm always a little cautious on 4 drops, just because that tends to be where your curve can get pretty clunky
Do
in
you
terms of.
do you remember when we used to say it was a 5 drops that tended to get too clunky?
Yes, I do. And now,
Now it's
yeah,
the 4s.
yeah, because 5 drops now like win the game basically until
Flash
they get beaten by another 5 drop.
Flash Thompson Spider Fan. 2 mana for a human citizen, 2/2 with Flash. And when he enters, choose 1 or both. You can heckle, tap target creature, or you can hero worship, untap target creature. With Flash, that's pretty cute. So you can flash it in, stop their attacker, or flash it in, sneak block them. This feels really strong, actually.
Those effects seem really minor, but just
They're
like you
not.
said, they're not. They can have a big impact.
And it's just a 2 mana 2/2 flasher, which is pretty
Yep.
valuable on its own. I would say that would be a 5, but I actually think that those abilities are quite good. So I'm wondering if there's any, like, spiders also, the idea of you webbing someone down makes me think of like stun counters. So I'm wondering if untapping things might also just be more relevant. I don't know that, I haven't looked at many of the spoilers. This is completely blind, but if I were to think of a mechanic for Spider-Man, I would think stun counters and or tapping things down with webs. So we'll see. But I think that
Makes sense.
could be a cool mechanic if that's the case. I think this card's like a 6. I
That
think
is a 6 as well.
it's a really good, well-rounded 2-drop. Yes, Schultz, I think Basri's Acolyte was correct. I was close to that, so that makes sense. Friendly
Yep.
Neighborhood, 4 mana for an enchant land. When this enters, create 3/1/1 green, white, human, citizen, creature tokens. I thought this was going to be create spiders.
That's not friendly. If it makes spiders, that would not be a friendly neighborhood.
All right, enchant land has pay 1 and tap. Target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. For each creature you control. Wait, what? Oh, it's a rare. I didn't even notice this was a rare.
Yep.
I was reading this thinking it was like an uncommon the whole time. No, this seems excellent. And it's so cute because the Spider-Man makes little kids that are Spider-Mans running around in costumes. That's very adorable.
It is. Yeah, I like this card. You obviously want to be going wide with it, but you get a little boost just from itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's even if my deck is not going wide, like I still think we're playing it.
Oh yeah, definitely. You're still getting your mana's worth for the spell.
Yeah, absolutely. So rating wise, I think I would call that a 7.
I think so. Just turning your land into a repeatable pump spell. I mean, admittedly, it's sorcery speed.
Now, if you're like Azorius Control or something, then maybe it's closer to like a 6, but you're still getting your mana's worth, which I think is good. And if you're like Selesnya Go Wide, then it's probably going to win games at like an 8. So I think 7 is a pretty good middle ground. All right, Origin of Spiderman. This is a saga. You can pay 1, or not. That's not how those work at all.
Nope.
You can pay 2, and then you get these 3 chapters. Create a 2/1 green spider creature token with reach. Then you can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It becomes a legendary spider in addition. So this is making 2 spiders for our spider count. And also target creature you control gains double strike till end of turn. So this is the spider that bites you, the saga that bites you. I think this is good. 2 mana for a 2/1 with reach. I'm in, and then you're gonna do some more shit for me. Excellent. I don't think it's like a haymaker by any means. Certainly, you can maybe catch someone off guard with like a flying creature and double strike or something. But I find that those sort of combat finishing sagas tend to not do much because your opponents have 2 turns to figure out what to do.
I agree with all that. I'm just looking at this basically as okay. I'm perfectly not excited, but I'm okay with a 2 mana 2/1 reach, especially with the relevant creature type. And then assuming I get at least the +1/+1 counter, which might change something into a relevant type or help with modified. I'm fine if the third part doesn't really do anything.
Agreed. Oh, that's exactly where my head is at. So I think I'm giving this. I'm not thrilled.
I'm like at 6.5.
You're higher than me. I'm gonna say 6. And that was kind of on my high end as well. I mean, I don't think I'm certainly not cutting this, but I don't think it's pushing power to the board.
No, I think I might just be assuming too much that the Spider-Man set will have enough stuff that cares about spiders.
Yes. I'm also probably undervaluing like the third saga. I'm basically just saying that that's not going to get you anything, and if it does, great, but I'm not like really willing to like say that it is. So that's also not fair, like, because it will sometimes, and it will make your opponents have to play into figuring out what to do, which slows them down and messes their game plan up, and that's certainly more valuable than I'm giving it credit for. All right, a flip card, Peter Parker. I didn't look to make sure that these worked. Great, cool, it did work. Peter Parker, 2 mana for a flip creature. When it enters, create a 2/1 green spider token with reach. So this is another spider, not spider that you hadn't seen, but it's a mythic, so whatever. And then you can also pay 1 and Bant to transform it as a sorcery, and becomes from an 0/1, becomes a 4/4 vigilance and reach. Each legendary creature you cast that's 1 or more colors has web slinging this. Bant. You may cast a spell for a web slinging cost if you also return a tapped creature. Cool. I feel like there's not going to be that many legendary creatures. Like, there's going to be plenty, but not ones that the mana cost is worse than Bant.
It might make it easier to cast the quintuple white card we saw
Yeah,
already.
that's an exception, certainly.
Agreed.
But Bant is still hard to get, and you're already well, it's only 2 mana, and you're getting a 2/1 reacher, so it's the front side's effective free. So I'm not going to really hold the mana cost of 4 Bant to flip against it because you're getting your mana's worth as is. So it's just like a biding your time situation. It's not like a dire you need to flip this. And then even though the back is again, I think not going to be all that useful. I mean, certainly there's going to be like 6 drops and things that you could help with, but you've already committed effective 2 turns and 6 mana to make this thing, and Bant is not an easy casting cost anyway, so you're probably on turn 6 or turn 7 anyway to make all of this happen. So I don't love it, but it's free and it turns into a better creature, so I think it's still very good.
Yeah, I'm looking at something because can we just play the other side of this card?
Oh, is this
That
is
doesn't
this
feel right, but I think it is. Yeah, it's modal. It's a modal, even though it's double face, even though it has transformability because the backside does have a mana cost.
huh? You're right. It's a modal creature. I saw transform and didn't think that that could even be a thing.
Yep, I did the exact same thing.
Huh. I mean, a 4/4 for 4 with reach and vigilance still good. The 2/2 for a 2/1 and an 0/1 that can flip later, I think that's fine. Again, I think both sides are reasonable. I just don't think either ability is like a home run as far as a mythic goes.
I would agree with that. The fact that you can do the backside without going through the front could be relevant. So at least it's just a bonus.
I
I
kind of
think
don't even want to. I like the spider.
there do seem to be just skimming through. There are going to be plenty of legendary spells to cast in this set. The question is kind of what you said. How many of them are you actually getting a benefit by casting them for Bant instead of the
Yeah.
original cost?
It does say legendary spell, so I'm wondering if there are instants and sorceries that are legendaries or equipments or artifacts. It doesn't specify
No,
creature.
that could just be
Or
so it works in Commander or
and
stuff.
planeswalkers.
Scrolling through quickly, I don't see. There is a legendary artifact. I don't see any legendary spells yet, other than the artifact. So
I still think it's good. I think both sides are solid statted, and I like the flexibility of casting it for 1 or for 4. You can play it in just white. You don't necessarily need to be in Bant, or your Bant can be a super light splash, and you don't have to worry about it like not being like functioning at that point. So I think this is not something I'm cutting. I'm just not thrilled. So I'm gonna say it's like a 6.
I think so too. Again, unless there's you have a deck that really cares about the spider stuff, it's probably around a 6.
The Spiders. Rent is due, a 1 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may tap 2 untapped creatures and or treasures you control. If you do, draw a card. Otherwise, sacrifice this enchantment. Huh. I mean, that's kind of cool if you're making tokens or treasures. I think this could be worth it, but it is a bit of a build around. Well, most white decks do tend to be a little bit creature heavy, so I'm fine with it. If this was in blue, I'd be more concerned with the average deck creature count, but I think with white, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt.
I guess it somewhat depends on just how aggressive white wants to be, which is usually pretty aggressive because I don't want to be saving 2 creatures just to tap them to this.
It depends
A lot of times.
but if you're pumping out like spider tokens and stuff, the idea is you're just tapping the summoning sick ones or
True.
vigilant ones, or you have the flash guy that untaps your creatures. Yeah, I think I'm willing to give it that benefit of the doubt. And like a lot of times too, when you're that aggressive, you hit a brick wall when they play a 3/3 or 4/4. It's nice to have a little something you can do with those creatures that can't get in.
This feels to me kind of similar to another card we had earlier in that I think it feels very slow, but in this case also risky. It's like you can just play this with a couple creatures out and they shock your creature and then it blows itself up at your end step.
Yeah, you certainly need to have more than just like two 1/1s out for you to want to play this. I think you have to be pretty wide for that to be the game plan. And this is not something I'm playing on turn 2 or 3. It's sort of the thing I want to play in Boros on turn 6 when I'm sort of out of gas and no longer able to push for the final damage. I think I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I think this is going to see some play. I'm going to guess that it is a 23rd playable card in the average deck. I'm going to give it a 5.
I think I'm a little lower. I think I have it like a 4.
All right, Selfless Police Captain. 2 mana for a 1/1 when this creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. So we're looking at the modified mechanic. When this creature leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, which is really cool because that would trigger the armory, right? Or does that one say put its counter on this, or does it say add a counter to this when a creature dies?
When a modified creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a counter on this artifact.
Okay, it doesn't say its counter, so then that's relevant here. So that's cool. It's a bear that makes other things better. It's good for like aggro decks. Someone in chat is saying detective, so I'm not sure if that's a relevant creature type. I like it. I think it's a curve filler.
That sounds right. If there's a significant modified theme, there is at least a modified theme. But if it's significant, then this gets better. But
Yeah.
it's still probably just a little bit over playable at that point.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking like at this point, a vanilla 2/2 for 2 is not quite cutting it for me. So I'm going to say that this is a step up from that. I'm going to say it's a 4.5.
I like that.
All right. I was like, holy shit, slivers are back, but they're not. They're not. Silver Sable. A human mercenary hero, 2/3 for 3. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on another creature, and when it attacks, target modified creature you control gains lifelink until end of turn. That's fine.
A nice bonus, but it's not like a build around or anything.
It's an okay curve. It's like above. The problem is you have to have another creature. It doesn't say put on a creature, so it's like a little underwhelming. If it put it on itself, in fairness, that would be way above rate. And then the lifelink may or may not be relevant. It's going to depend on how many other creatures you have. The other thing is like this also has to attack to give that thing lifelink. So this doesn't feel exciting to me. I'm going to say it's certainly playable because it does come into play above statted across 2 bodies. So I'm going to say it's a 5.
I like getting 5.
All right. Spectacular Spider-Man. 2 mana, 3/2 with flash. It gains flying until end of turn for 1, and you can pay 1 sacrifice Spectacular Spider-Man. Creatures you control gain hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. Spider-Man doesn't die all that often to save people.
I'll say I really like the flavor of the first ability, right? You get temporary flying, like with your webs.
Mm-hmm.
But the second part doesn't make a lot of sense.
I mean, he sacrifices himself to save people. I feel like that's just the generic hero trope.
Sure.
And he is the Spider-Man card, so I guess it makes sense if you were going to put the sacrifice yourself to save people on a card. It should be this one, and it's way above rate with flash, which I like. So yeah, this card is, though the ceiling is not that high for a rare, it's not like a massive dragon. It is incredibly well statted and does a lot for 2 mana. So I think this is a 7.
A 7, just very efficient.
All right. Spectacular Tactics, 2 mana. Choose 1, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains hexproof till end of turn. Excellent. Or destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Do you remember when we were very happy with destroy target creature with power 4 or greater for 4 mana at sorcery speed?
Yep.
Oh, how far we've come. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play 8 of these. I don't really care. It does everything I want it to do. I like normally when you have flexible cards like this, you're like, one of these is really good, and any of the other 1 or 2 are like, I'm glad they're in my deck for free. I'm willing to spend like a little extra mana to have access to them, though I don't value them very highly. That's not the case here. I think these are both excellent. So this looks like pretty premium white. Though it is not premium removal, I like the other half of it enough to give it premium removal. I love this card a lot, actually.
I don't know why I can't think of the name of the damn card from Snakeskin Veil. Now I just did. It's Snakeskin Veil with a removal spell option.
Smite the Monstrous.
Yeah.
Something, yeah. But
Yeah, that card's
you're
great.
paying 1 mana extra for the Snakeskin Veil, but,
But
you're
less
paying
than you
less
should be for the
mana
removal. Yeah.
at instant speed. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
incredibly strong. I think this is an 8.
Agreed.
I feel like I shouldn't be putting an ability like this at 8, but they're just so good. Spider-Man Webslinger, 3 mana for a 3/3 hero. He is web slinging 1, so you can just return. You can bounce him by returning a tapped creature.
No,
What?
you cast him by returning a tapped creature.
I meant you bounce the other tapped creature.
That's the other one. Yep.
Yeah. I said it a little funky, but I was making hand gestures and things. Here's a question. Why does the creature need to be tapped?
Probably to make it a little bit harder to do.
I see.
And so you can't like constantly be doing it. There's probably some sort of weird combo shenanigans with playing the same ones over and over again, like the same 2 repeatedly.
I see. They don't want you getting multiple ETB effects by bouncing and dumping 8 mana into like the bounce over and over again. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm guessing somewhere there's some, something that reduces cost and causes a pair of creatures to be able to go infinite really easily.
I feel like at that point you could just have a vehicle or whatever, or a land that's a planet that lets you infinitely station. Right? Like
I guess those all at least give your opponent a chance to respond, where since this is part of the cost, they don't.
Well, you can when this comes into play, that's true. I guess if you do get to hold priority to cast the next thing.
Exactly. Whereas if you had to tap it, they had to let the crew ability resolve, which at least gives you a chance to play an instant.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, it doesn't look like it's that hard to get around. It's just giving them the chance to, waste time on their moto clock by having to click yes over and over again. Yeah, this seems fine. 3/3 for 3. Not special. Redoing ETBs. I think that this is going to be playable. 4.5.
I think so too. I think I've already might have discovered my least favorite thing about the set, which is that I'm going to have to say, like, I'm going to bolt Spider-Man. Okay, which of the 7 Spider-Man?
Yeah, I will say, Magic, now that we're doing the Universes Beyond and they want to show special treatment to all the characters and they're giving them all sort of the common, uncommon treatment, I am not a fan. This is something they did with Lorcana, and day one I was like, ew. Like, I opened an Elsa and I was like, yeah, money card. And I'm like, oh, it's a common Elsa. What the fuck? What is this? Like, I don't want this common Elsa. Where's my mythic Elsa? I'm not a huge fan of it.
There are 3 just white cards that the natural shorthand would just be Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was kind of the nice thing about Final Fantasy 2 is that they got around most of that because there were so many characters you didn't get infinite versions of them. There were like sheets, like a special sheet one of a Zidane and a regular Zidane, and that's like fine, but it wasn't something that came up very often. Whereas in like Lorcana, you end up with like 6 Elsas on board, and they're all different. I'm like, mother fluffer.
And at least with the special sheet ones, a lot of times, like at least for Zidane in particular, I would probably just say I'm going to bolt Ragavan, the one, because that's what the card actually is.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, I think you and I are in agreement here that this is not a trend we are in love with, but we have Spider UK.
I'm sorry, I am just calling this card Spider Rock.
No, that's awful.
Exactly.
I think it's funnier that it's the Spider UK.
It's one thing when you have like Captain America and then there's like a Captain Britain or something, but really Spider UK. There's nothing American specifically about Spider-Man.
Except for he lives in America and was
no, but that's not part of the name. Like come up with a different name then.
But that's the thing.
I
Like,
don't know.
they're you're right. They're like Spider-Man does not identify, all U.S. But
Yeah.
this is the Captain America of the UK. It's Spider-Man. So this one fights the Nazis. Spider UK. I think it's excellent, and I think his costume is funny.
Go Spider-Rock.
Stop it. No, Spider UK. You're a 4-mana Spider-Man. Uck. That is. God damn it. Now I'm trying to think of what is Tuk Tuk. Sorry.
Yes, Tuk the Explorer. Yeah.
God damn it. That's
Spider
a
Rock,
4-man.
Spider Rock does whatever a Spider Rock does.
I'm sure we're gonna get a Spider Ham for sure, right? 3/4 web slinging for 3, so it can cost 1 less. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card and gain 2 life. Okay, that's kind of cool. So you can actually flip flip back a cheap creature and replay it, which is neat.
Yeah, that's definitely where you like the card we just saw, where it was, a vanilla 3/3, but it's 1 mana to bring it in with web slinging. That's the sort of thing that can enable this.
Yeah. I like the fact that 2 of these can also kind of just like keep flipping, and getting extra cards. That's pretty neat too. I mean,
Well, you have to tap them.
Yeah, but it's a 3/4. It can get into combat. It's fine. Or it can station a planet. That's not, this is a limited set review, but I mean, that's a thing we can do in Magic now is we can have Spider-Man UK station fuck. my mind just went blank.
Station a planet while wielding the Buster Sword and the One Ring.
What is the stupid planet? Yeah, so we can have Spider-Man UK station Druidia.
If you're gonna do Universes Beyond, we need to have a Spaceballs Universes Beyond.
Did you hear there's a sequel coming?
I did. That's amazing.
Oh my god. Okay.
And it better be called Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money.
I hope so. Oh my god, we're never finishing the set review. Okay. I think this card is fine. I like it. I'm gonna say it's a 6.
6 sounds good to me too.
I don't know if it's gonna perform that well, but I think it will. I like drawing cards. I like touching cards. Starling Aerial Ally, 5 mana. This is the most expensive card we've seen so far. For a 3/4 flyer, when it enters, another target creature you control gains flying till end of turn. That's a very boring card. It doesn't do 8,000 things. I don't understand why they made this. Seems awful. I like the little Spider-Man head dangling off of her foot to give him flying. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty good.
These things are usually pretty playable, but nothing exciting. I think the 5 mana slots are pretty chunky. I never want more than like 2 creatures there at this point. So I'm going to say it's like a 5. It's going to be playable, but it's kind of fillerish.
I think 5 is fine. It's kind of underwhelming, but it is a common.
I wonder how relevant. It's like some sets flyers are just way stronger than others, so that'll also depend here whether this is good.
Agreed.
Sudden Strike, 2 mana, destroy target attacking or blocking creature straight up. I think this is a great rate.
You like this more or less than the Spectacular Tactics?
That's a good question. Do I have to pick?
I'm just trying to figure out from a rating perspective.
I want both of them in my deck.
Fair.
I would say this is... It kills more things. But I love the hexproof. Neither one deal with like activated abilities.
So they both have the same weakness, really, which is dealing with good utility creatures. Because a lot of those aren't going to attack anyway get into combat, and there are a lot of times they're small.
Yeah, and activated abilities don't help. Like on small creatures that are like, mana dorks, or tap, give everything +1/+1. Those are often on 1/1s for one. So yeah, they both have the same weakness. I think I like the other one a bit more.
I do too.
So,
Which is interesting that's a common and this is an uncommon.
but I don't necessarily think that they are rated less.
No, they can be at the same rating. I think that's fine.
But
they're definitely near each other.
Because this can't do anything unless, because it's attacking and blocking, I don't think I care. I'm gonna say it's an 8.
I think it's an 8 too.
Just premium removal.
Interesting.
All right, Thwip. 1 mana for a target creature, gets +2/+2, and gains flying until end of turn. If it's a spider, gain 2 life.
I'm going to Thwip my Spider-Ruck. That's a sentence I'm gonna have to utter at some point in this set.
You're not gonna have to utter it because it's not gonna be on Arena.
Oh, that's true.
But yes, that would be a thing you're gonna have to say at your pre-release. Which, speaking of which, anybody who's interested in the Washington, Portland-ish area, Decked Out is doing another one of our pre-releases at Mox Boarding House. If you guys are interested, I believe it's on the 5th. We're locking it in because they're supposed to have a limited PTQ, RCQ. That's the current terminology. They're having an RCQ that's limited on the Saturday, so we are going to be doing our event on the Sunday. So if you guys are interested, join the Discord. We're making lots of announcements. We're hoping it will be another full house like it was for Final Fantasy. It's going to be super fun. We did, Maud was there, Z, Bobby Christine, the entire Decked Out crew, Joe Cherries and Christian, and then we had like special bounties if you killed one of us. We had Final Fantasy collector booster giveaways. We did charity. It was fantastic. So anyway, make sure you guys come to that. This is a cheap combat trick I like. Flying can straight up kill people. The +2/+2 is super relevant, and the spider gain life also marginally relevant. I think this is like a 7 and will be very good for aggressive decks.
A little lower, but I usually am on combat tricks, like 6.5. I still think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably closer to a 6.5 only because you don't want to play a ton of them. Like, space for these things tends to be pretty limited, but honestly, I don't feel like it gets much better than this one. At 1 mana, what you're getting here is incredibly strong. Web Up, 3 mana for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. There's nothing different from this than all of the other 3 mana enchantments that O-ring something?
No, it's just a straight up Banishing Light.
Okay, we just reworded it. I'm wondering if the Magic Online version will just be Banishing Light. If they'll just reuse.
It should be.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's a need for them to remake the cards that already existed that they made new skins of. So anyway, this is an 8. Banishing Lights are always great.
Agreed, 8.
Web Shooters, 2 mana for an enchantment. No, that's not what that word says. Artifact Equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has reach. Whenever this creature attacks, tap target creature and opponent controls, equip 2. +1/+1 and reach is pretty relevant with a really cheap equip cost, and the fact that you're removing a blocker every single time seems neat. Helps you with like your web abilities because you can get more attackers through. I actually like this a fair amount.
Hard. It's an interesting combination of abilities because the triggered ability whenever it attacks is very aggressive, and reach by its nature is a very defensive ability.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm wondering if, because it's a spider set, I think it's just, ooh. Remember that card that we were talking about where I said, sometimes 5 mana flyers are much better. We'll have to see. I think it'll be much worse because everything has fucking reach.
Everything will have reach, yeah.
So yeah, that bird I like even less now. I gave it the benefit of the doubt that it could be a a good card because sometimes they are, and I think it's actually, I just didn't think about it, and I think it's less likely to be good.
Yeah, the base spider tokens, like the 2-1s, have reach.
Yeah. Rating wise, like I said, I like this. I agree with you. I think that one is defensive and one is aggressive, and that's counterintuitive. But I actually like that. It means that it is not a useless card in any deck, and you can. Not every deck is always the beatdown or is always the control deck. Most decks in limited are kind of both, and the where you get your skill is by being able to assess the board and knowing which seat you're in because it changes throughout the game. And I think this is the kind of card that you want in those flexible moments. So I'm going to go on a limb and say that this is a very solid card that I will want to play one of in basically every deck. I'm going to say it's a 6.
It's a 5.5, although could definitely be higher if you care about anything with modified.
Yeah. The fact that he gave the +1/+1 as well was just like that really pushed it over the top for me. Wild Pack Squad, 3 mana for a 2/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 1 target creature gains first strike and vigilance until end of turn. I like that it can give it to himself, so I think that's fine. I think this is a 5.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
It's sad that like the vanilla, like it used to be a 5 if it had no text box. A 2/3 for 3 was like
True.
in white was just a 5. That's just fine. But yeah, now no. Now you can give 2 keywords to something and still be a 5. With great power, 4 mana for an aura equipment. Enchant creature you control gets +2/+2 for each aura equipment attached to it. All damage that would be dealt to this creature is dealt to enchanted creature instead. To you is dealt to it. Okay. This feels not limited.
No, it's what's the Boggles creature that has that ability? Core Spirit Dancer, I think.
I don't
Yeah,
think
basically
that...
not the damage part, the +2/+2
I was
thing.
like, I don't
Sorry.
think that's what that does.
No, sorry.
Yeah. The pump, yeah.
For every Orin equipment. So it gives +2/+2 on its own. And then
Which is
another
not
+2.
enough for 4 mana.
No, especially because it's easier to kill.
Yep.
Because all they have to do is attack and get damage through.
And it says equipment as well as aura, so you have the card in the previous one that's relevant, and there does seem to be a modified synergy here, so there's going to be slightly more than usual that will matter, so that's fine, but I don't think I like this in the average deck. Maybe there's a build around that's very happy to run this, or a particularly juiced version of an aggro deck or whatever when it's juiced with these auras and equipments, but I don't think I'm playing this in limited, so I'm going to say it's a 1.
You're missing the combo here, which is to put the last white card, on the first white card we saw. Anti-Venom.
When
the 5 white
damage
card.
is done with it, well, something happens. What happens to it?
Prevent that damage and put that many counters on it. So you don't take any damage, it all goes to this, prevent it, and it gets very big. Because that can't possibly be broken up by a single removal spell or anything.
That, is fair. That sounds like a cookie. That sounds like you would get a crumble cookie in my book for sure.
For combining the 5 white mythic and the rare.
Yeah, if you guys don't watch the stream, if I do something you're not supposed to really do in limited, I get a cookie. So that is it for white. Yanks, what are you thinking? Good, bad, ugly?
I think it's fine. I don't know, it feels almost hard to evaluate because there's so few cards compared to normal.
Fair.
It feels like it's missing things, but that's just because
it's
there are
missing
only 24
things.
white cards.
Yeah.
Every color is going to be missing things.
For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out a ton. And don't forget to leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of the white Spider-Man cards, and give it an overall rating in the comments and let us know what you thought of it. 1 to 10. Do you think this is going to be a strong color or not? All right, we're going to go ahead and jump to the blue cards in the next video, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.